What if the most pivotal moments in modern history weren't really accidents? What if the official stories you were told were just the start of the story? We're looking at 5 man-made tragedies, all with a strange connection to the month of November, where powerful forces did everything they could to bury the truth. Today, we're digging up what they didn't want you to know and revealing how these cover-ups secretly shape the world you live in. Coming in at number 5 is a disaster, so fiery and catastrophic. It's called one of the deadliest industrial accidents in history, yet a lot of people have never even heard its name. On the morning of November 19th, 1984, a series of massive explosions tore through a liquefied petroleum gas storage facility in San Juan, Ixhuatepec, a crowded neighborhood just outside Mexico City. The official story? A gas leak from a pipeline sparked a chain reaction. The blasts were so intense they were picked up by seismographs, flattening homes and incinerating everything in sight. The government put the death toll at around 500 to 600 people. It was chalked up to a tragic but unavoidable industrial accident. But what if that story was just a convenient way to hide gross negligence? For years, residents and investigators have argued that the state-owned oil company Pemex had a terrible safety record and ignored warnings about failing equipment. The real cover-up wasn't just about the cause, it was about the consequences. Survivors on the ground said the death toll was way higher than the official count, estimating it in the thousands because many victims were either vaporized instantly or buried in mass graves. To protect its state-run monopoly and dodge an international scandal, the government allegedly squashed the real numbers and raced to close the case. The San Juanico disaster is a chilling reminder of what happens when profits are put before people and when the truth becomes more dangerous than the lie. Next up, we have a cover-up that didn't hide a disaster, but the dark pasts of the very people brought in to build a nation's future. In November 1945, just after the fall of the Third Reich, a top-secret American program called Operation Overcast got a friendlier name, Operation Paperclip. The official mission was to use German scientists to get a leg up on Japan, and more importantly, to gain an edge in the brewing Cold War against the Soviet Union. The American public was told they were getting the best and brightest minds from Germany to work on rockets, aerospace tech, and medicine. These scientists, like the soon-to-be famous Wernher von Braun, were painted as priceless assets who were essential for national security and for putting a man on the moon. But here's the twist. The real story is that America knowingly laundered the identities of hundreds of committed Nazis, including SS members, all to win the Cold War. See, President Truman had one strict rule. Don't recruit anyone who was more than a nominal participant in Nazi party activities. But military and intelligence officials were desperate to keep these scientists out of Soviet hands, so they systematically bleached their files. They scrubbed evidence of war crimes, faked employment records, and attached new, clean summaries to their folders with a simple paperclip, which is how the operation got its name. These scientists were given new lives and top jobs in the US, while their roles in slave labor and other Nazi atrocities were deliberately erased from history. It was a state-sanctioned scrubbing of the past, a moral compromise made in the shadows that forever tied America's greatest scientific wins to some of the world's darkest crimes. At number 3 is an event so shocking it gave us a grim new phrase, drinking the Kool-Aid. On November 18, 1978, the world learned that over 900 Americans, all members of a cult called the People's Temple, had died in their remote jungle settlement in Guyana. Their leader, Jim Jones, was found dead among them. The first story, pushed by Jones himself on a horrifying audio tape recorded as it all went down, was that this was a revolutionary suicide. The media ran with it, reporting it as a case of mass delusion, where followers willingly poisoned themselves and their kids at their leader's command. It was presented as the tragic end of a fringe religious group. But what if it wasn't a mass suicide? What if it was a mass murder? That's the cover-up that's taken decades to fully expose. Survivors and investigators paint a far more sinister picture. While some people did drink the cyanide-laced punch willingly, many others were forced to. Armed guards circled the compound, ordered to shoot anyone who tried to run. Children were killed first, with poison literally squirted into the mouths of babies. At least 70 others were injected with poison against their will. This was a massacre. The whole thing was set off when U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan showed up to investigate claims of abuse. When some cult members asked to leave with him, Jones's paranoia exploded. He ordered his guards to murder Ryan and 4 others at an airstrip before unleashing his final horrific plan. The Jonestown story isn't just about a cult. It's about a mass murder that was disguised as a final collective act of faith. Our runner-up is a scandal that reached the very top of the U.S. government and completely shattered the public's trust. The whole thing blew up in November 1986. The official line from the Reagan administration was simple and firm. America does not negotiate with terrorists or sell weapons to countries like Iran. Well, that story started to fall apart on November 3rd, 1986, when a Lebanese magazine published a bombshell. The U.S. was secretly selling weapons to Iran. The administration denied it at first, but the story was true. Top officials had been arranging secret arms sales to get American hostages in Lebanon released, but that was only half the story. What came out next turned a scandal into a constitutional crisis. On November 25th, Attorney General Edwin Meese announced that money from the illegal arms sales had been secretly funneled to fund right-wing guerrillas in Nicaragua known as the Contras. And that flew directly in the face of the Boland Amendment, a law passed by Congress that flat-out banned using federal money for that exact purpose. In the following days, key figures like Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North started shredding documents to hide the truth. What they exposed was a shadow government running its own foreign policy, operating outside the law and hidden from the American people. Iran-Contra wasn't just a policy dispute, it was a conspiracy to undermine Congress and the Constitution, all of which was desperately covered up in the month of November. And finally, our number one November cover-up isn't about when the disaster happened, but when the world was forced to face the lies that hid it. The Chernobyl disaster on April 26, 1986 was the worst nuclear catastrophe in history, spreading a cloud of radioactive material across Europe. The official story from the Soviet government was pure denial and downplaying. For 2 whole days they said nothing at all. When they finally spoke, they called it a minor accident, claimed the reactor was stable, and insisted radiation levels were fine. They told the people of Pripyat, the city next door, that everything was safe, delaying evacuation and exposing tens of thousands to a deadly dose of radiation. But here's the thing, you can't cover up a radioactive cloud. The truth started leaking out, not from Moscow, but from a nuclear plant in Sweden, over 1,000 kilometers away, where workers detected alarming radiation levels. Faced with hard evidence from the rest of the world, the Soviet cover-up crumbled. By November of 1986, the international community knew the truth. The official death tolls were lies. The contamination was thousands of times worse than admitted, and the flawed reactor design was being deliberately hidden. The Soviet Union didn't just try to hide an accident, they tried to hide a global catastrophe. The Chernobyl cover-up is the ultimate example of a government choosing propaganda over people's lives. A lie so big it contaminated not just the land, but the very idea of truth itself. From industrial meltdowns and secret plots to mass murder and nuclear fallout, November seems to be a month where the truth gets buried, only to be dug up years later. These events show that history is full of secrets, and the official story is often just that, a story. So, which of these cover-ups shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to uncover more secrets that history tried to hide, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell.